ever since Joe Biden stepped down and Kamala Harris stepped up as the Democratic nominee, all I've been seeing on my timeline is black women saying that they were voting for her simply because she's the same gender and the same color as them. Like, is that all it takes? She just got to be the same color and the same gender, and she got your vote? You don't care about any policies. You don't care about how she treat people. Just simply based off of color and gender, she got your vote. Well, if that's the case, would you vote for Candace Owens? You know, they play the same game every 4 years. Those other 3 years, they don't give a shit about us. But come election year, yeah, they got our best interest at heart. They fighting for us, right? Yeah, I'm not falling for that shit. You know, it's not a fact. It's just my opinion. But I don't think Joe Biden was getting the amount of black support the Democratic Party hoped that he would get. So they had him step down, pick Kamala Harris up, because they knew if black people see a familiar face in office, that's where their vote will go. And look exactly what's going on. Like, y'all voting for her simply because she's black, simply because she's a woman. Like, and that's really sad. Like, it's okay to think.
I know that Kamala is aiming to be the first black female president, but it looks like she can't even get the support of BLM. Today, BLM and Obama just announced that they are not going to be endorsing Kamala Harris as BLM labels her as authoritarian. They said this in a quote, "We do not live in a dictatorship. Delegates are not oligarchs. Installing Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee and an unknown vice president without any public voting process would make the modern Democratic Party a party of hypocrites." And I feel like that was well said. And I think more Democrats should be calling out the left on this hypocrisy. Like, I'm a Republican, but Marianne Williamson was a very good candidate on the left and should have been given a better chance from the DNC. And because the DNC failed to have a primary is the reason why RFK is running as an independent and the reason why we have Kamala in the first place. But let us know what y'all think in the comments down below.
Yeah, don't let these people mind rape you and mind screw you into forgetting about the fact that Kamala Harris said that she wouldn't do anything exclusively for black people and then turned around and did something exclusively for Asian people and then turned around and did something exclusively for white Jewish people. Like, let's just be honest. Like, just because she's black don't mean I want to vote for her. Like, what is she going to do? Like, we need to stop voting for people just because they Democrat, just because we're scared of the Republican representative. Ooh, the Republican boogeyman. Yo, these Democrats ain't done nothing for black people unless you bourgeois black people. You know what I'm saying? But if you at the bottom, they have done nothing for you. But guess what? Those same bourgeois black people that basically get all the benefits from the Democrats, right? They get the jobs, they get to this, they get to that. Those same bourgeois black people haven't done anything for their own people as well. So I guess Kamala Harris is all the same as them.
Not in Atlanta, friend, not in Atlanta. I know you ain't do that in my city, trying to have the world think what they already think about Atlanta and black women. Like, the hell, friend, you was on an international stage showing them what they think of us already. A lot of us was really in limbo, like, what do we really think about Kamala? Because I really don't feel like she for us. Do she even know where we be at? I mean, you might show up to the cookout, but you gonna be late. You not bringing nothing. And you gonna leave early, which means after the music is done, because yes, of course we twerk to Megan. Of course we do. But you wouldn't hear what we say after the music is off. We would not choose Megan to represent us. We would not do that, friend. Go talk to black people. Just sit in a room with a whole bunch of black people and be quiet as a mouse and take some damn notes. It's just a no all around the board for me. Like, this really did not put things in your favor, sis. You got 1 week. You got 1 week to prove to...
I'm a black American woman, and I will not be voting for Kamala Harris. Why? Because my vote has nothing to do with me being black. My vote has to do with the fact that I like safe and secure borders. I'm not a fan of inflation, and I like a president that puts America first. And that candidate for me is Donald Trump, and it's time that people be so honest, whether you like the man or not. We need Donald Trump in 2024.
In 2008, I was framed for murder and wrongfully convicted by the office of Kamala Harris, sentenced 50 to life in prison. It took me 5.5 years to ultimately get back in the trial due to prosecutorial misconduct, and it took me another year to go to my second trial, to which I was vindicated by a jury of my peers. When I got convicted, Kamala Harris was in the courtroom, when I got sentenced 50 to life in prison, Kamala Harris was in the courtroom. When I looked back and I seen her, she was smiling. And she did that stupid ass laugh that she do right now. This shit ain't funny.
So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my re-election race. But I said, look, I'm done. This is a serious issue, and I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it. And this is what we did.
I think it's rough because I asked the attendance officer, could she help me or give me some, make up some hours or whatever I can do. And she told me that she didn't care and hung up on me.
These districts that get federal funds are required to not only accommodate these parents so that their child can be in a traditional education, but to make reasonable adjustments in their policy, which can include attendance.
Now, the school district superintendent says this is an extreme case and action simply needed to be taken. Worst case scenario for Andrea Black, she could go to jail and her son could be put in foster care. She says she is desperately hoping that that doesn't happen.
I didn't get to address the conversation between Kamala Harris and Taraji yesterday, but I gotta say this, y'all. This squeeze bottlehead hoe actually had the audacity to address Black America when she has done absolutely nothing to help out Black communities this entire presidency. Kamala Harris is one of those biracial people who likes to only use her Blackness when it's beneficial to her. When it's beneficial to her gaining some type of political one-up. Any other time, she is more than willing to soft shoe tap dance around any type of issue that has to do with Black America. At this point, can we just agree that the relationship between Black America and the Democratic Party is low-key toxic? It's toxic. It really is. I'm talking about toxic in a sense to where they constantly beat and abuse us. They constantly cheat on us. They constantly lie to us. Yet somehow, when that 4-year mark is starting to come to an end, now they want to give us little flowers and little gifts and trinkets and shit and tell us that they'll never do it again and that they're sorry and that they love us. Only to turn around and do the shit again once we let them back into the office. Because even though reproductive rights in America is important, we still fail to realize that Blacks have the highest abortion rate in the country. Not only that, Blacks also have the highest rate for child mortality, meaning there are more babies that are unalived in the Black community, as well as mothers who pass away when giving birth to their children. Those are the conversations that we may need to start having. Because I don't see nobody else. I don't see no other communities but Black and Latino communities with Planned Parenthoods in them. I don't see nobody else but Black and Latinos who seem to constantly keep getting pandered to when it comes to this situation. Out of those two, guess who keeping their babies? They keeping theirs. Let us not forget about how they were literally giving women, Black women in general, hysterectomies without their consent. Y'all could go look that up. Also look up eugenics while you're at it. Margaret Singler, okay? Look her up. The moment we see a Black face or somewhat of a Black face in the White House or a part of the government in some way, we always constantly think that they're going to do some shit for us. Look how long Clarence Thomas been in office. Y'all remember what he did to Anita Hill, and yet he's still there somehow, and he ain't did absolutely nothing for us. Nothing. Look, I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm just a human being with 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a brain that's just really low-key tired of the bullshit. But when y'all gonna get tired? Because if she felt that way so strong about Black communities, why would y'all allow all of them migrants to be dumped in Black communities? You were supposed to do something then. That was your time to shine. But you didn't. You dropped the ball. You, Johnson, and Adams, y'all didn't do shit. I think it's time for us to really hold that notion tight to our soul and understand that all skinfolk ain't kinfolk.
I have a message to the Democrat Party and to Kamala Harris, and this is a message from real black women. We were freed on January 1st of 1863. Therefore, you're not going to control us. You're not going to bully us into voting for whomever you select for your own personal gain. We're not going to do what you say because we're afraid of you. Those days are over. But I also wanted to specifically address what you're doing with Kamala Harris. First of all, most of us do not care what her race is. You could have promoted her as just a good candidate, but the fact that you're promoting her as the black woman candidate, that makes people that are intelligent, that makes us pause and say, okay, so what? She's the black female. Tell me something about what she's going to do for my community, for my family, and for my country. If you can't do that, then you've made a great mistake. You have lost half of us who are intelligent enough to know that the President of the United States must be able to sit across a table from Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, from whomever the new Prime Minister is, or President of Iran, and from Yi from China. You have to have those qualities. Therefore, you cannot be afraid to have an interview before a favorable news network like NBC, CBS, CNN, ABC, and all of the rest of them. If you are afraid to have an interview, my major concern is what is Putin going to do with you or to you and to the United States? Those are the things that are important to us. Then let's go down the line. Again, if you are a real presidential candidate, we want to know about issues, policies that will affect us, things that you messed up in the last 3.5 years. We want to know today. You have 2 months. Today, how are you going to fix the prices of food in grocery stores? I don't like using the term inflation because most people don't even know what that means. But you know what? Everybody knows what it means, how expensive eggs are. That, you know, she was making these comments about using hot sauce. How expensive. Louisiana hot sauce, I can't afford to buy it anymore because it's gone up. It's like tripled in price or something. It's crazy. Those are the things that we're interested in. We also want to know illegal immigration, what you have done to the border, and why have you done it to the border. You were the border czar, but now we see an influx of illegal immigrants. Military-age men. We see what is going on in Colorado. We know that the prisons in Venezuela were emptied and they were told to go to the United States. We see what that has done to our cities. And we want to know, why did you let that happen? We want to know what's happened with child trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking on the border when everybody has free reign. Those are the issues that are important to American black women, okay? Real black women who are free, who do not care what race you are. They could have put you out here and never said anything about race. But if you told me, yes, we've made mistakes in the last 3.5 years, but I promise you in the next month, we're going to get the price of eggs down. Next month, we're going to stop illegal immigration before the election. Show us what you can do before the election comes. Let me see what you have. It's like, okay, you know, don't just talk your talk. You better walk your walk. Do it right now while you're the vice president. Therefore, some of us can follow you. And the other thing, all of the efforts that you're making, that the Democrat Party is making to make you pretend to be a black woman, they're insulting. The fact that you have to change your diction when you go from place to place, insulting. I've spoken, I don't know where, how many different places. It never has occurred to me to speak differently before different crowds of people. Now, if you're intelligent, you're going to speak intelligently. I don't care where you're speaking. And to assume that you have to talk down to black people is insulting to all black people. You don't have to talk down to us. You don't have to get somebody on stage dancing and twerking to relate to us. Grown people, you can talk to us like grown people. And you know what? It doesn't matter what race. We don't care. But I just wanted to say this to the Democrat Party. You've made mistakes with this candidate. And I want you to know that the black women of America, those of us who are free, we recognize your mistakes.